Today we're talking about how much your mortgage should actually be. Not what the bank tells you, not what's on your pre-approval letter, but what you can realistically afford without wrecking your lifestyle.
I could use some help.
Well, most buyers think, I got an approval, I'm good. But the truth is that that number is based on your gross income, not your actual take-home pay. And it definitely doesn't factor in what you want left over to, actually enjoy life. In this video, I'm gonna walk you through 4 mortgage to income rules. Suggestions, guide markers, label them what you like, that most buyers have never heard about because an overwhelming majority of real estate agents and lenders don't talk about this stuff. And to be honest, some of them are probably gonna get pretty pissed off that I'm saying this stuff out loud. But that's exactly why this video is so valuable. Once you understand these rules, you'll be able to assess your buying power on your terms and figure out what price range really makes sense for you. If we haven't met yet, I'm Karl Kyler, your San Diego realtor, and I've been helping buyers since way back in 2004 to make smarter, more comfortable real estate decisions, and I'm here to do the same thing for you. If you're looking to buy a home here in San Diego and you don't want it to absolutely destroy your quality of life, then you definitely are gonna wanna stick around for the entire video. Now be sure to like and subscribe. It's super helpful and supportive to the channel. And if it so happens that during this video, you say to yourself,
you know this Karl guy? He's really growing on me. I want to give him a call and see how he can help me with my next real estate transaction.
Well then my contact info is in the description below. Give me a call and let's chat. Now let's get into what you came here for. All right, first up, the classic 28% rule. This is probably the most popular mortgage guideline among the 4 that I'll talk about in this video. And I say popular very loosely because as I mentioned in the beginning, these rules or guidelines aren't really discussed when it comes to buying a home. The 28% rule says your monthly mortgage payment. This means your principal, interest, taxes, insurance, and HOA, if it exists, shouldn't be more than 28% of your gross monthly income. Now let's pause on that word gross for just a second. That's the number before taxes, before health insurance, before your 401k contribution. Basically, before any of the money you actually get to spend hits your bank account. So let's say you make $10,000 a month before taxes. According to this rule, you could safely spend up to $2,800 on your monthly mortgage. Does that make sense? Here's the thing you want to keep in mind when working with a gross income. 28% of your gross is often 35% or more of your actual net. That's the money you actually take home or that hits your bank account. And depending on your tax bracket and deductions, it could be even higher. That's where things start to feel tight. That's when you start skipping dinners, putting vacations on the back burner, you feeling stretched every single month, and you start giving your partner gift certificates or coupons to personal services in lieu of a gift that will actually draw from your bank account. Now, these are usually cute and sexy at first, but they lose their appeal real fast. This is why so many buyers end up house poor, not because they bought a bad home, but because they followed a not so ideal rule for their situation, one that's built around income that they don't actually keep. Now, if you want to avoid that kind of monthly stress, don't stop at the 28% rule. Instead, use that as the starting point rather than a finish line. With that said, let's jump into the second rule. The second rule is known as the 28-36 rule. This one's kind of like the 28% rule's older, more responsible sibling and works similar to how mortgage brokers qualify buyers. Here's how it works. 28% of your gross income should still go to housing costs, same as before. And let's again be mindful that this is your gross income and not your net. Now, on top of that, your total monthly debt payments, we're talking about mortgage, car loans, student loans, credit cards, any recurring debt should stay under 36% of your gross income. So if you're making $10,000 a month before taxes, you'd aim to keep your housing under $2,800 and your total monthly debt payments under $3,600. So for extra clarity here, $3,600 goes towards your mortgage and all debts combined. And this is referred to as a debt to income ratio. And this is extremely similar to how mortgage lenders qualify buyers. But the major difference is that lenders usually use about 45% of a debt to income ratio, meaning your entire mortgage plus all your recurring debts cannot exceed 45% of your gross income. Another difference is that mortgage lenders don't care about how much of the debt is made of your mortgage. They are only concerned with all of your debts being 45% or lower. Now, this is where things get real for a lot of buyers, because if you're already carrying a car loan and maybe some student debt, your room to work with shrinks fast. That $2,800 mortgage target, it might need to come down if you're already forking out $600 a month for an overpriced truck or a brand new Tesla and $400 for student loans. That's $1,000 of debt right there. And suddenly your $2,800 mortgage ceiling becomes more like $2,600 or even $2,400 just to stay under the 36% cap. Here's where the rule is really helpful. It forces you to look at the bigger picture instead of tunnel vision on only the house, because buying a home doesn't magically wipe out your other debt. If anything, it piles on top of it. And the last thing you want is to start your homeowner journey already financially boxed in. So, is the 28-36 rule perfect? No, but it does add a layer of reality that most buyers skip.
Excuse me, reality check here.
It forces you to assess everything you're carrying, not only what your mortgage payment will be. Bottom line, if you're carrying a lot of monthly debt, it's better to adjust your expectations now than get deep into escrow and start realizing that you've overextended yourself. That's rule number 2, or am I referring to these as guidelines or suggestions? Whatever they're called, I'm sure you know what I mean. So let's just move on to the next one. Now, on to rule number 3, and I am committed to calling them rules going forward. This is called the 35-45 rule. This one gives you a little bit more room to breathe compared to the 28% or the 28-36 rule. But with more room comes more responsibility and maybe a little bit more risk. Cue Uncle Ben and Peter Parker scene now.
With great power comes great responsibility.
So here's how it works. The 35-45 rule says your total monthly debt, including your mortgage, should be no more than 35% of your gross income or 45% of your net. So again, let's start with that nice clean number of $10,000 a month in gross income. Multiply that by 0.35 and you get $3,500 a month. Then let's say your take home or your net is $8,000. We multiply that by 0.45 and you get $3,600. According to this model, your comfort range is somewhere between $3,500 and $3,600 a month for all your debts combined. Sounds pretty reasonable, right? And that's the catch. This rule opens up the door to higher payments, but you really have to know yourself. If you're someone who budgets every dollar, stays disciplined, and keeps your lifestyle lean, this might work for you. But if you like traveling, dining out, weekend getaways, enjoying a regular Cali craft beer at your local watering hole, or honestly, just breathing room in your finances, this rule could lead you right into feeling probably overextended. This rule also assumes your take-home pay is stable, which for a lot of people these days is not the case. So should you use this rule? I'd say only if you're already on top of your money game. If you're tracking your spending, you've got emergency reserves, and you're looking for a way to stretch yourself without snapping, it'd probably be fine. If that's not you, or not you yet, then the 35-45 rule might be a little too much rope to hand yourself. Oh man, that's a bad analogy, but I'm sure you know what I mean. All right, 3 down, 1 more to go. And let's get into the most conservative, but possibly the most realistic rule on the list. Now for the 4th and final rule, the 25% post-tax rule, AKA the Dave Ramsey rule, but with a minor tweak in our example. This is by far the most conservative guideline on the list, and honestly, it might also be the most sustainable, especially if you're the kind of person who wants your house payment to feel like just another bill and not a monthly gut check delivered by an American hockey player. And why an American hockey player? Well, watch the 2025 Four Nations Face-Off tournament, USA versus Canada, after Canada booed our national anthem, and then you'll get it. America. The rule's simple. Your total housing payment, again, your principal, interest, taxes, insurance, and any HOA fees, sorry for the redundancy, should be no more than 25% of your take-home pay, period. So let's say you bring in $8,000 a month after taxes. This is also referred to as your net income. 25% of that is $2,000. That's what this rule says you should cap your housing budget at. Now, I already know what some people are thinking.
Karl, dude, I live in San Diego. What am I gonna buy for $2,000 a month? A 1992 Honda Civic with a leaky sunroof?
And yeah, this rule can feel laughable if you're looking at the real estate market here, but don't roll your eyes just yet. This rule isn't about what the market allows. It's about what helps you sleep at night. It's about giving you financial breathing room so your housing payment doesn't choke out the rest of your life. You want to take a trip, save for retirement, go to brunch without calculating in your head if your avocado toast is going to cause your credit score to drop? this rule leaves room for all of that. Maybe you won't be able to hit that 25% target here in San Diego. That's okay. The real value here is using this rule as a gut check. If your comfortable payment is closer to 30%, but you've run the numbers, looked at your lifestyle, and feel good about it, cool, you're in control. But if you're staring down a 45% of your net income going towards your housing costs, I urge you to rethink your plan. So while this rule might be conservative, it's a great benchmark for buyers who want to protect their lifestyle and not get stretched too thin the second they move into their home. And that's a wrap for rule number 4, a rule that doesn't get talked about much, but honestly might be the one that keeps the most people out of trouble. Oh, and one quick twist. This rule is a close cousin to what Dave Ramsey teaches, but the big difference, he says your mortgage should never go past 15 years. In this video, we're just talking about monthly payments. Do what makes sense for your timeline. And that's a wrap for this video. Be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. And if you're interested, check out my other content that I'll have pop up in either of these corners for you to click on next. I think the next best video to watch would probably be about how to save up for a down payment. So I'll have that in one of these corners. I got some interesting cheat codes in that video. As always, I'm Karl Kyler, your San Diego Realtor. We'll see you next video.